Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corporate Vice President, Developer Division for Microsoft, Scott Guthrie.
Thank you. Well, good morning and welcome to Dev Connections. This is a big week for developers. Yesterday we launched Visual Studio 2010 and .NET 4, and today I'm excited to announce we're launching Silverlight 4. So we're pretty excited about some of these capabilities from a raw features perspective. What I'd like to do is just spend a little bit of time now showing off, first, some of the great apps that you can build with them and the types of scenarios that we think are possible. And to begin with, I'd like to invite Franck from Ormetis on stage to show off a really great Silverlight 4 data application that his company is building and shipping. So here's Franck.
Good morning. So I'm with Ormetis, and what we do at Ormetis is we make data transformation and migration really easy. And in order to illustrate that today, I'm going to show you one example where we take data from HR, we combine it with data from accounting, and we create data for CRM. So let's start with HR. So the company we're working with today has actually 4 HR departments, and I asked them to give me a list of their salespeople. So because there are 4 HR departments in 4 regions, I get 4 lists. And because it's done by different people, and they even use sometimes different systems, those lists are similar, but they're not identical. So let's look at 2 of them. So as you would recognize, they are CSV file. So that's a very easy format. I mean, that's a format you would find everywhere. The problem is it's not very well defined. So for instance, I notice here that the first file is comma delimited. The other one is semicolon delimited. The columns are not in the same order. And that's just the kind of difference I can spot right on, but there may be more subtle differences. So that should be relatively difficult to incorporate or to integrate those 2 files. Let's try with Ormetis. So that's Ormetis. That's built on top of Silverlight 4, and that's currently running in the browser. Let's take the first file. Okay, so that's my first list of salespeople. That's 59 of them. And now I want to integrate the rest of that. If I have a keyboard, yes. So I'm going to take the other files and just drop them on top of it. Okay, so you see now I have 233 salespeople. So I've combined all the files together. That was really easy, but that's running in the browser. So what happens if I don't have an internet connection? Well, sometimes you want to do stuff offline because there may be places where you don't have internet connection. That's possible in Silverlight 4 as well. So you just right-click on the application and say install. And I'm just going to install the application. And from now on, that's going to behave as if there was a full client application. Although it's the same code, it's the same Silverlight application. And it's not even Windows specific. That would work great on Mac as well. That's exactly the same thing. Okay, let's go back to those files. So I've shown you already how to combine 4 text files. Now I'm going to show you another way to do it. Same thing, but a different method. Instead of dropping the files, I'm actually going to drop the folder that contains the files. If I do that, I get a slightly different result. I get 4 slices. It's kind of a 3-dimensional view. I get 4 slices, each slice being a file. Okay, so if I want to get the same result as before, I need to ungroup that, so I get a flat view of my files. Okay, that's still 233, that's reassuring. So there's too much information there. There are columns I want to get rid of, so I'm just going to select them. So for instance, first name, last name, start date, I don't really need that. So I'm just going to delete that. Okay, and right now I notice that the structure is wrong. Maybe wrong is too strong a word, but it's not what I want. I want one industry column. So if Bob is selling to if Bob is selling to 2 different industries, I want Bob to appear twice in that list. If Kate is selling to 3 different industries, I want Kate to appear 3 times in that list. So it's a fairly complex transformation of the file, but I need that in order to merge that file with the rest of the information I have. So let's try to do it. I'm going to group on the bits that don't change, the bits that belong to every salesperson in the company, email and state. And I'm going to group on that. So what I have now are slices. So there are bits of information, and here it's only 1 row each time. For each salesperson on the left, I have the list of industries on the right. But that's not what I want. I really want a column. So it sounds like a rotation kind of thing to me. So let's take that and rotate it. Okay, so now I have a column. For each salesperson, I have the list of industry he or she is selling to. And while I'm at it, I may as well remove the empty rows. Okay, so now I have what I want. For each salesperson, I have a slice of information with the list of industries. So it's as before. I'm just going to ungroup that. And I'm done with that file. Bob Smith is there twice because he's selling to 2 different industries. Kate is selling to 3 different industries, so Kate is there 3 times, etc. Okay, let's put that aside for a minute, and let's focus on the customers. So I have an Excel file here, which is actually quite big, so it's going to take a few seconds to open. And that file contains all my customers. So it's actually 10 spreadsheets, so 1 per industry. So for each industry, I have the list of all my customers. So what I need to do here is declare the first row as header. And then, as before, I'm just going to ungroup. And here we are. You probably can't read that, but that's 81,436 customers. That's quite a few customers. They're all there. Again, there are columns that I don't really need for my transformation today, so I'm going to get rid of them and give us a bit more space. Sorry. Delete. Here we are. And now what I want to do, and I know I have a very technical audience here, so you're probably going to recognize a left inner join, but we find it too complicated, so we just call that a lookup. But what I want to do is for each company on the left, I want to assign 1 salesperson on the right. And that's based on the composite key, that's based on state plus industry. So that's a fairly large file, fairly complex transformation. Let's see how long it takes. Done. That wasn't very long. And that, in effect, is the reason why we decided to do it with Silverlight and not with Flash. I'm not going to criticize Flash. I mean, Steve Jobs is already doing it full time. But my point here is, last time I checked, in Flash, you couldn't create new threads. So that means if you have a multi-core CPU, your application is only ever going to use a fraction of that CPU. And clearly, that wasn't an option for us. In order to have the most responsive, the really sleek application working with big files, we needed to use all the power we could get out of the CPU. So in the end, choosing Silverlight 4 was really a very easy decision to make. Thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy the rest of the keynote.
So Frank just showed a really great example of taking advantage of all those new Silverlight 4 capabilities to build a business application that lets you work with data in a very textual-based format way. And you saw the great power and the performance that Silverlight 4 gives you with that.